With so many great games out there, it's a sad truth that most of us are going to miss out on a large number of truly excellent ones. Sure, you might be a wealthy recluse with a Steam account, unlimited funds, and no other hobbies, but for most of us when considering a new purchase, it's far safer to stick with a genre or series that we're already familiar with. Why risk wasting our hard-earned cash on something that we haven't heard of when there's another Assassin's Creed right next to it on the shelf? Well, friends, it's that kind of attitude that leads us to situations like this, with great games receiving a fraction of the sales and recognition they deserve. We've already done a video about great games that sold poorly, but that was just scratching the surface. There are many more games that deserve our attention, and when it comes to their commercial performance, our pity. Here's hoping you decide to give a few of these a second look. I'm the always underappreciated Ben from TripleJump, and here are 10 more great video games that sold poorly. Number 10. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Alright, here it is, the game with the singing poo. Originally intended to be another kid-friendly platformer for the Nintendo 64, British developer Rare realised that the market was kind of oversaturated already. The solution was simple and ingenious, if a little risky. To differentiate the game from the plethora of other animal mascot adventures out there, including Rare's own Banjo-Kazooie, they decided to take out the kid-friendly bit and give gamers something their mums wouldn't approve of. Yes, gone was the clean-cut, cutesy squirrel seen in 1997's Diddy Kong Racing, replaced with the foul-mouthed, beer-swilling, pill-popping deviant we all know and love. I wonder what tipped Conker over the edge though. Maybe his kart racing career took a downturn. He got involved with a gambling ring, was disgraced for throwing races and quickly turned to drink and debauchery. I feel there's a Netflix series there somewhere. Anyway, despite being a cult classic today, Conker's Bad Fur Day didn't shift many copies when it was released. Maybe its adults-only status on Nintendo's Sprog-friendly console did it in, though releasing in 2001 towards the end of the Nintendo 64's lifespan likely didn't help. Either way, it performed poorly at retail, and mint copies nowadays are rarer than the actual red squirrel upon which Conker is based. Sad times all around. Number 9. Vanquish. Shooting games starring action heroes in snazzy futuristic armor aren't exactly a rarity, but when Platinum Games released their 2010 shooter Vanquish, they threw a few unique features into the mix too. Gameplay reminiscent of 2D bullet hell shooters, stylish sliding attacks, and weirdly, smoking being incorporated into the gameplay all helped to set main character Sam Gideon apart from the likes of Master Chief and Crisis Guy, whose name is, for all I know, Guy Crisis. Vanquish received a positive reception from the gaming press, with reviewers praising the fast-paced gameplay, outrageous action, and sleek visual style. It also had a fair few awards thrown its way, including GameSpot's Best Game No One Played award. Sounds like a good fit for this list then. It's not entirely clear what stopped Vanquish from meeting its sales potential. It's not as though third-person shooters are a particularly hard sell to the buying public, so I'm stumped. Hold on, it says here that it was also awarded and praised heavily for its innovation. There's your issue, Platinum Games. You try to do something new and interesting. Classic mistake. Number 8. Grim Fandango. Grim Fandango definitely had style, with high-quality voice acting, a clever script, a unique theme that combines film noir stylings with Aztec beliefs regarding the afterlife, and indeed, a front cover that made it look like Casablanca with skeletons. There really wasn't anything else quite like it. While not strictly controlled using the point-and-click method, not until the 2015 remaster anyway, Grim Fandango definitely had all of the trappings of that genre. You'd explore compelling locations, converse with unusual characters, and pick up items that you'd later use to solve tricky puzzles. Where it differed from other adventure games was in the bleakly quirky setting, in which main character Manny Calavera is a travel agent helping lost souls on their final journey through the land of the dead. Reviewers lavished praise upon this quirky title, and creator Tim Schafer, who we'll be seeing again on this list sadly, was quite the legendary figure, but the game just didn't get the sales it deserved. It wasn't a total flop, but by Mr. Schafer's own admission, it didn't exactly recoup much of its budget either. Maybe gamers were put off by the fact that none of the characters had any skin. Open your minds, guys. There's a skeleton inside all of us right now. Number 7. Jet Set Radio. Jet Set Radio, or Jet Grind Radio in America if you want to get for no real good reason about this, came out for the Dreamcast in 2000, giving players the unique opportunity to join a gang of stylish, inline skating youths as they rolled through the streets, performed tricks, avoided the authorities, and left graffiti tags in their wake. Pretty much what I do in my spare time then. Players are tasked with beating rival gangs by spraying over their tags, which is a totally gnarly and disrespectful act, as you would know if you were as cool and streetwise as me. Sorry, as I am. Grammar is still important on the streets, kids. Jet Set Radio was applauded by critics, becoming one of the Dreamcast's killer apps, and its gameplay, soundtrack, and visual style were all praised highly. It's also recognized as one of the first games to use cell shading, an innovation whose effects are still seen in AAA titles to this day. Alas, it was not a commercial success, which, as with most Sega exclusives of the period, was likely more due to the company's decline in the console market than the quality of the game. There just weren't that many Sega faithfuls left to purchase the darned thing. Don't worry though, it did actually manage a sequel with the Xbox exclusive Jet Set Radio Future, which came out in 2002. That game was also great, and it also sold poorly. True to the spirit of the original, at least. Number 6. Brutal Legend. Oh, he's back! Tim Schafer was at it again in 2009 with Brutal Legend, a love letter to classic heavy metal. Not the modern stuff, there are no punk or rap influences here. We're talking real old school heavy metal, written and performed by extremely hairy men and full of lyrics about demons, dragons, and the big red horny boy himself. Jack Black provided his voice and likeness for Eddie Riggs, a disillusioned roadie transported to a mystical land that's basically one big metal album cover as he embarks on a mission to save rock and roll. Jack Black also appears in person in the intro, inviting the player to accompany him as he seeks out a legendary album in the local vinyl store. It's adorably metal. While Brutal Legend is certainly a game with a spectacular setting, there was one aspect of its gameplay that caused a few critics to take issue. You see, Brutal Legend was an open-world action-adventure with surprisingly out-of-place RTS sections. It was a jarring gameplay change that probably didn't do the title any favors. Kudos, of course, to Mr. Schafer for trying something new, but as we all know by now, interesting ideas don't always translate to sales. Number 5. Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. What do Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars and Conker's Bad Fur Day have in common? They're both adult-orientated games that came out for primarily kid-friendly consoles, and they suffered for it. As surprising as it is to see GTA on a list of games that didn't sell well, Chinatown Wars underperformed, despite currently being the highest-rated Nintendo DS game of all time on both Metacritic and game rankings. Visually, the game harkens back to those oft-forgotten early days of GTA, where the violence and carnage were presented from a top-down vantage point that makes it so much easier to disassociate ourselves from the murder and bedlam below. The story, as you might expect, focuses on the Chinatown district of Liberty City, and players take on the role of Huang Li, a young Triad member tasked with delivering a valuable heirloom. Players can enjoy such wholesome side activities as finding and destroying security cameras, drawing tattoos on Triad initiates with the touchscreen, and dealing in hard narcotics. Sell the right drug in the right district at the right time and make a tidy profit. It's good, clean, fun, and I'd just like to take this moment to remind you that this is a Nintendo DS game. It was a good one though, just not a good selling one. Number 4. PsyOps: The Mindgate Conspiracy. Those of you out there with latent psychic powers can probably identify quite well with PsyOps: The Mindgate Conspiracy's lead character Nick Scryer. That feeling of being different, supernatural abilities that you neither asked for nor fully understand, government officials sniffing round, all that kind of stuff. It's okay, we see you. They see you. Honestly, we feel bad for those who got into this 2004 telekinesis up. It had all the makings of a fantastic new franchise. It even ended on a cliffhanger, and then nothing. Despite positive reviews and various award nominations, players never really gave the series a chance. To be fair, 2004 was fairly stacked, with the likes of GTA San Andreas, World of Warcraft, Half-Life 2, and Fable gobbling up gamers' time instead. PsyOps deserved more though, based on its premise alone. Scryer, after having his memory wiped so that he could infiltrate a terrorist organization making use of its own psychic operatives, is captured and loses all of his powers. Players control him as he gradually reclaims his memory and abilities, helped only by an enigmatic, telepathic double agent named Sarah. Honestly though, with all these freaky mind powers going around, you'd think that someone would have been able to foresee this game's eventual fate and rewritten that cliffhanger ending. Number 3. Folklore. This PS3 exclusive RPG came out in 2007 when such games were still few and far between on the console. Tokyo-based developer Game Republic decided to draw from Celtic mythology for the game's setting, going so far as to set it in an isolated Irish village known as Doolin. This is actually a real village on Ireland's west coast, where one can find Doolin Cave, north of the Cliffs of Moher. Yes. I can see why they chose it. The game's art direction does an excellent job of presenting the setting to the player, giving Folklore a visual and thematic style that speaks of mystical forest creatures, ancient village traditions, and even a touch of spooky folk horror. Reviewers were suitably impressed with the graphics and also praised the battle system and gameplay. Players, however, seemed less enamored, as Folklore's sales were poor enough to kill off any planned sequel. Likely hampered by its unique setting and unusual design, the game unfortunately fell short of its sales targets. It was probably also harmed by the PS3's slow start. The console took a while to find its feet against the instantly popular Xbox 360, and by the time the user base had grown, Folklore was but a fleeting memory. Transient, like that shadow that moved in the corner of your eye on a twilight forest walk. Was it even there? Yes. Yes, it was. Number 2. Psychonauts. Tim Schafer again, not another one? Good God, we could probably do a whole list of unfairly underperforming games by him alone. Don't worry, we still love you, Tim. Like Grim Fandango and Brutal Legend before it, Psychonauts did extremely well with critics who praised the gameplay, writing, and innovation. The game earned numerous industry awards, but yet again, failed to win over the gaming public. In the game, which has a unique and eye-catching visual style, players take control of Raz, a psy-cadet training to become a psychic spy called a psychonaut. Raz delves into the mental worlds of various characters' consciousness and helps them through psychological issues, usually by beating up a boss. Were it always so easy, eh? Unfortunately, Psychonauts was a commercial flop that failed to capture the psyches of gamers at the time. There is a silver lining though. Since Mr. Schafer acquired the rights to Psychonauts and released it digitally through Double Fine Productions, the game has reportedly sold almost 2 million copies and spawned a cheeky sequel. Well done, Tim, and well deserved. Number 1. Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. What do Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, and Conker's Bad Fur Day all have in common? They're all adult-orientated games that came out for primarily kid-friendly consoles and seemingly suffered for it. There's a pattern here somewhere, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Anyway, this GameCube psychological action horror game holds the honor of being Nintendo's first M-rated release. It famously indulged in some innovative, mind-flipping antics, doing its level best to convince you that you were losing your marbles. The game also featured a compelling, bloody, and epoch-spanning story told through generations regarding various characters throughout history being tormented by an unfathomable cosmic entity. Calm down, Nintendo. I know Zelda can get pretty dark sometimes, but this is next-level stuff. Alas, despite numerous awards and critics singing profane hymns of praise from the rooftops of desecrated chapels, Eternal Darkness didn't sell very well. Still, its legacy is felt in the horror genre even now, with its sanity effect almost certainly influencing the likes of Amnesia: The Dark Descent and other latter-day spooky efforts. Like all great horror icons, it'll never truly die. Can it at least get a remaster though? Those old GameCube copies are getting expensive.